Hey there and welcome. Full disclosure, I'm at a conference in sunny San Diego. It is a oncology focused conference and it's called Astro, and it's really focused on radiation oncologists. And I thought for this episode, why not take the opportunity to talk more about conference tactics and strategies, whether it's video and digital advertising. And I'm going to focus today's episode on digital advertising pre-conference, meaning before you show up to game day, what you need to do to help stimulate lead gen. And I'm going to put it up here on the screen real quick so I can walk you through what this tactic looks like. And so if you're trying to reach niche HCPs, you're going to want to listen in here because this tactic will definitely help when it comes to lead gen. Typically, what we're doing is we're recommending to our clients to launch these campaigns 3 months, 4 months ahead of the conference, right? Because you want to engage, educate, influence your niche HCPs long before the conference. The conference is one of those opportunities where you're spending a ton of money, and that's a great opportunity, obviously, to get that face time, interact with those niche HCPs. But from a digital perspective, this is a great way to, again, influence them, educate them about your solution before you show up to the conference. Let's get into it here. First off, we're starting with first-party data. And first-party data is one of those opportunities where we work with our data partners, our providers, and we've got a variety of them that have access to first-party data for niche HCPs. And there's a variety of different codes that we can leverage. One of them is an NPI number, which is called a National Provider Identifier, which you see up here on the screen. Another one that we typically leverage are called CPT codes. So you all know those. The great thing about this is it's a great opportunity to really, again, get that one-to-one targeting for lead gen. So if you're looking to reach your niche HCPs online before the conference, this is a great way to do it because we're going to reach them as they navigate online. We're going to distribute your brand message across lifestyle sites. Think of it just as your normal media consumption, right? So news, sports, weather, finance, travel, all those different sites, there's like thousands of them. And the great thing about this is with technology, we can leverage that all those different websites because your normal consumption of media, you're going to hop from website to website. And the great thing about this lead gen tactic is those ads will follow that person as they navigate online. And I'm going to show you some of the different websites that typically the ads show up on. But really the key crux of this strategy is leveraging that third-party NPI data to digitally target your niche HCP online. And the great thing about this tactic is it's actually across device. Most people have 4 to 5 different devices. I know I have about 4 devices that I toggle back and forth between, right? So mobile phone, desktop, laptop, tablet, all those is something where we know it. So as a marketer, we want to reach you on your device. And this tactic definitely has that opportunity. Let's talk about the NPI database for a moment. This database is required by HIPAA, so all HCPs must have and use for admin purposes. Really, it's around financial transactions. And again, it could be something where it's an NPI number or a CPT code because those are all tracked. It's one of those things where covered HCPs and all healthcare plans and healthcare providers must use these unique NPIs. And this database is actually accessible. You can go down, I put up here on the screen, you can download this whole database under the U.S. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid. So it's a great database that you can download where we're helping bridge the gap with our clients specifically to leverage that data, leverage that first-party niche HCP data and reach those people online. It's a great tactic. Again, it's a great tactic for lead gen. Some clients, and if you're watching this video, you may have Definitive Healthcare. There's a couple other databases that are out there as well that you can leverage for this HCP targeting. But what we come up against with clients is a lot of times they have the NPI numbers, they have the CPT codes, but they don't know how to bridge that gap to actually leverage that data and make it actionable, right? So you want to make that data actionable. You want to be able to leverage it. And that's one tactic that we can do is reaching those niche HCPs as they navigate online and using that data. So it's one-to-one precise targeting. And I'm going to show you how we reach those HCPs online. So as for example, I'm at this conference in San Diego. It's Astro. The focus here is on radiation oncologists. So there's hundreds of specialties that we can target. Let's keep it at radiation oncologist. So if we're targeting radiation oncologist, once they visit a website that uses their email address, let's say it's a shopping experience, we know they're online. So our data partner and our other providers that are connecting all these dots on the back end, that's how we get that one-to-one targeting, is we know that HCP is online based on their email address. We actually, the database provider that we work with, they're a healthcare recruitment company, staffing company, and they have the personal email addresses of hundreds of thousands of different HCPs. So again, as that person goes online using their email address, boom, we've got them. We know that they're online. We're going to track them. And the great thing about this, when I mentioned the lead gen part of this, is I'm going to share in the next couple slides, is that lead gen tactic. We can actually give you a report every week or every month that shows you which niche HCPs are the most interested. And I'm going to show you that here in a moment. But again, when you think about it digitally online, that person's going to navigate specifically to lifestyle sites, news, sports, weather, finance. And then we're going to target them with a message. And your message, again, if you think about it in the strategic approach of you're warming up these leads before you get to the trade show, we always love to educate audiences because they might not know anything about your solution, your product in the marketplace. So instead of saying, hey, here's our solution, book a meeting, that's a low success tactic. What we're typically doing is saying, watch our webinar, download our ebook, watch this video that our KOLs talking about our solution in action and how it's transformed their patient outcomes. For example, you want to educate them, you want to nurture them. It's almost similar to if you meet your prospect in person, face to face, right? And it's a cold outreach. You're not going to say, hey, Mr. Prospect, Mrs. Prospect, let's book a meeting. Let's book another meeting to talk about our solution, right? You're going to warm them up. You're going to educate them about your solution and how it may be a fit for their niche HCP. Again, the great thing about this is a lead gen traffic driver. So what we want to be able to do is once we reach that niche HCP, we want to educate them. We want to encourage them to click on the banner ad, go back to your website or landing page. And then this is where the retargeting starts. And I'm going to talk about that here in a moment. But ultimately, what we're creating is a lead gen tactic and strategy that gets those people interested. Obviously click on the ad, go back to your website. And then once they go back to your website, what happens is we want to interact with them after they leave your website. 98%, I think this is the next slide, 97% of most people that visit a website for the first time, they bounce. So really only 3% of people on the first visit actually convert. So those 97% of people that leave your site, you want to engage them. You want to influence them again after they leave your website. So the retargeting works again is once that prospect hits your website, they visit other websites, we follow them. As an example, I'm a runner. I typically purchase running shoes every 6 to 8 months. Brooks is my jam when it comes to running shoes. If I start shopping in 6 months and I'm like, hey, I need to get some new shoes, I start doing some research, obviously, similar to what physicians do, or if they're just navigating online. All of a sudden, I go to Brooks' website, and then after I leave that website, I see that Ghost Model 10, the latest model, and they're encouraging me to purchase it, or maybe there's a sale. So again, that's how the retargeting works. We're all used to it as consumers. And then at the end of the day, this is the holy grail, right? So this is the lead gen report that you get, again, every single week or every single month. This lead gen report, you can see it up here on the screen, would include actionable data. Actionable data being first name, last name, address, title, specialty, if they have some sort of hospital affiliation. So if you knew which prospect was the most engaged based on your digital advertising, how would that change your business, right? It's a game changer. And so what you can do with this, there's a couple different roads that you can take when it comes to this data. One, you can obviously share it with your sales team, inside sales team, outside sales team. It doesn't really matter. They have that information. We know that this list of people, these physicians, these radiation oncologists went to your website. So they saw your solution, they saw your brand, they went to your website. So if I'm a salesperson, I can call those physicians. If I'm an outside salesperson, maybe they're calling or maybe they're just stopping in with whatever sales tactics. So that's the sales side. The other road would be on the marketing side. We can't, unfortunately, because of privacy, I know this tactic sounds pretty creepy and you're like, hey, why can't I get email addresses? But we don't have email addresses because the provider that we work with has their personal email addresses, which they can't disclose with us. So we don't have email addresses, but depending on if you have like definitive healthcare, based on the NPI numbers that you provide, you can get those email addresses and then start you can do a sequence, right? You can think of it as a drip email sequence out to these prospects because again, they went to your website, they saw your brand. So it's kind of like low hanging fruit. You can re-engage them through a drip email sequence, set that up 5 or 6 emails. If you don't have a definitive healthcare database, because it's fairly expensive, the other tactic that you can do would be just leveraging it from a marketing perspective. You don't have their email addresses, right? So I would focus mainly on the sales activity versus the marketing activity. But again, it kind of depends on what your process looks like. The definitive healthcare, that's one advantage to have that kind of database. So if you have that database, again, we're taking it from an actionable standpoint, meaning like we can leverage that information, we can target them. And again, you don't need to have definitive healthcare specifically. A lot of our clients do and don't have definitive healthcare, so we can still leverage that. I hope this episode's been helpful as you start your budgeting, your planning for the rest of this year or into next year. I hope this tactic and strategy has been valuable, and I'd love to hear from you. If you have questions, hit me up. And if this information has been valuable, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully maybe at a next conference coming up. Bye for now.